What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly Sports History for March 10th, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Monday edition of the podcast. It's a rainy morning here in Clearwater, but I do want to take a moment to wish my beautiful and lovely wife, Abby, a very, very happy birthday. 26 years old today. Yep, 26. Let's do some quick housekeeping before we get started, as we always do. Be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mont on Twitter and TikTok, on Instagram at PhillyJimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont, and continue to spread the word as we grow this thing. Be sure to check out my friends at OnPatterson.com. Great Philly sports coverage, especially this week. The Phils in full swing for spring training. They're gearing up about another 2.5 weeks before the opener, as well as Eagles free agency kicks off this week as well. So be sure to give them a follow, check them out, and get that newsletter delivered right to your inbox. Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame ballot is out. You can have your voice heard and also have a shot to win 2 VIP tickets to the ceremony in November. All you need to do is click that link in the description, fill out your ballot, and if it most closely resembles the actual induction class, you will win those 2 VIP tickets to the ceremony in November. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. All right. Sticking with the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame, let's recap yesterday's question of the day. We featured Bernard Hopkins, and I asked you, is he the best boxer to ever come out of Philly? 67% of you said yes. A lot of people felt very strongly one way or the other about this. Those that said he is the best boxer stated winning titles in 4 different weight classes. One guy even had him in his top 5 all-time, all weight classes. And really the only other person that received any type of consideration was Joe Frazier. Hard to argue that. I know somebody did mention that, oh, well, he's from South Carolina. He's not really a Philly guy, but he spent most of his life here in Philly and was considered the pride of South Philly. So thank you, as always, for participating in the question of the day. There will be another one here later in the show. And, of course, we had a couple people vote for Rocky Balboa. Knew it was going to happen. All right, let's recap the day in sports yesterday. Man, Flyers, another lackluster performance, 4th straight loss, losing to the Devils 3-1, which really did. I saw a lot of folks start questioning whether John Tortorella will be the coach of the Flyers moving forward. He does have 1 year left on his contract, so kind of assume one way or the other this offseason we'll find a decision and figure out which way to go. Essentially, it comes down to whether or not they want him to be the guy to lead this team once they start getting the guys and the players in, or do they want to go a different direction. But being a lame duck next year, this offseason, it's probably one of the top priorities is figuring out the coach. Danny Briere did speak about the Scott Lawton trade. Said it is scary because he was such an integral part of the Flyers, big part of their culture and what they were trying to build. It was a very difficult decision for him to make that trade, but in the long run, it does help the Flyers as they move forward. Kind of almost got a comparison there to Rhys Hoskins, just the big culture guy, but needing to sort of cut ties and get things where they needed to be. But Danny Briere said it was a difficult decision. Hopefully it will pay off when they can pick some of those draft picks. They currently are 7 points back of that last wild card spot. However, they're right in the thick of it for a top 10 pick. So I guess that's where we kind of stand. But they have not been playing well recently at all. They're off until tomorrow when they take on the Senators. And then your team, your town, your Philadelphia 76ers actually won a game yesterday, 126-122 over Utah. Quentin Grimes had 25, Lonnie Walker had 25. And what are these guys doing? I feel like Grimes is a good player. We're finding that out. But, geez, like, you should not be winning, especially a team like Utah, who you're kind of in the mix for some of those draft spots. But I don't think they got the memo. I guess they played well without Maxey, without Paul George, but 3.5 games out of that 10th spot. But the more important thing is they're one game back of the all-important 6th seed and that first-round pick that goes with it. Not a good win for the Sixers at all. All right, Phils, another good day over at Baycare Field. 12-2 offensive explosion. Trey Turner got on base twice. Bryce went 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs. Ranger looked outstanding, kind of shook off that last bad start, went 3 innings, 2 strikeouts, gave up a run. Jose Alvarado continues to impress. I think he's going to be one of those keys to the bullpen. Looks good, throwing some heat, so looking good so far for the Phils as they're gearing up to start their season. And I saw this yesterday, and I wanted to mention it, but I figured I'd wait until today. Jimmy Rollins apparently had a sit-down with Bryce Harper, and Bryce was talking about how he is tired of hearing about the 08 Phillies and how it's all about, obviously, since they're the last team to win the championship. Jimmy spoke to Bryce about how, for him, it was all about the 1980 team with Boa, Schmidt, and those guys. He said, if you don't want to hear about the 08 team, go out and win it. He said, again, he got tired of hearing about the 80 team. He loved them, but was sick of hearing it and kind of took it upon himself to go out there and win it. He said, in order to create your own legacy, you need to go out and create it. And truthfully, I like this. He's not lying. And for Bryce, I think everybody kind of goes towards Schwarber as the leader of this team. I need Bryce as the star player, as the big money guy, to go out there and pull some Jimmy Rollins type shit and say they're the team to beat or something to motivate these guys. Reggie Jackson, famously Philly area native, famously said they called him the straw that stirs the drink. I need Bryce to be that straw and stir that drink. But what do you think about that? Was Jimmy Rollins a little too harsh on Bryce? I don't think so. I think at this point, like he said, you want to create your legacy. We've talked a couple weeks ago about what is Bryce's legacy and whether or not this is a make or break year. He needs to find some way, something to motivate these guys and get it together and step up as a leader. So we'll see if Jimmy Rollins' words strike a chord with Bryce there, but I kind of like that. I like that the Phillies do have like a strong alumni connection. Those guys are always around, and the fact that he's not necessarily calling him out, but basically saying, suck it up, dude, and if you don't want to hear about it, do something about it. I love that. Absolutely love that. So we'll see if it helps to motivate Bryce and if he can really step up and quote-unquote be that straw that stirs the drink. All right, Eagles news today. One of the funniest things in the NFL. It is the legal tampering period, which is so dumb. We know that teams are going to do this anyway, but legally they're able to. And remember, famously last year, James Franklin almost cost the Eagles a draft pick when they signed Saquon. Doesn't look like Myles Garrett trade is going to happen. He re-signed for big money after saying he was all about winning, goes back to Cleveland for $40 million a year. Just an insane thing. And I don't know if this necessarily changes how he's playing going into the offseason, whether he legitimately was exploring this. I think he obviously had to kick the tires on it. But I think the biggest loser in all of that is the Washington Commanders, which actually is good for the Eagles. So we'll see what happens with Howie. But really, it comes down to Becton. I still don't think they're going to re-sign Milton Williams or Josh Sweat. But the biggest question mark right now, and that is also today's question of the day, would you extend Dallas Goedert? I think he's that key piece there that do you move on from him? We've talked before about the lineage of the tight end, but is Dallas Goedert in the Eagles' future plans? Let me know what you think. 267-495-8531. That'll get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. Do the Eagles re-sign Dallas Goedert? I think it might be time to move on. I think you might be able to find better option. See what Grant Calcaterra can do as the starter. But what do you think? Would you bring Dallas Goedert back? Let me know on the Back to the Future voice and text line. And then any other thoughts for Eagles free agency as the legal tampering period begins today. It's so dumb. Absolutely dumb. Be sure to check out my boys over at the Clashing Conferences podcast. Lots of good things going on with their sports fan network. If you're not sure what they do, go to clashingconferences.com. They give you a chance to have your voice heard. Go out, just talk sports with people. So clashingconferences.com, check them out. And then their podcasts are available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. And then go to Philly Goat. Lots of Philly Goat gear down here in Clearwater. Go check out what they have to offer for yourself. I'm wearing the slides once again. Be sure to use that promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. That's phillygoat.com. Promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. All right, today we're going to go back to 1961. And on this day in 1961, the Philadelphia Warriors lost to the Detroit Pistons 120-103 in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Wilt Chamberlain had 32 points, 35 rebounds, played all 48 minutes for the Warriors. But the key part for Wilt this day was he went over 3,000 points for the season, becoming the first player in NBA history to go over 3,000 points. Now, only two guys have done this ever, and going to spark a little bit of a debate here. But Wilt Chamberlain and Michael Jordan. Wilt Chamberlain actually did it 3 times, including a league high 4,029 in the 1961-62 season. So 1 year after scoring 3,000, he went over 4,000. MJ only did it once. Kobe didn't do it. LeBron didn't do it. The Warriors that year did end up losing in the playoffs to their soon-to-be replacements in Philly, the Syracuse Nationals, 3-0. But Wilt Chamberlain, to me, you can have the debate about the GOAT. To me, it's Michael Jordan, but Wilt Chamberlain has that legendary, godlike Babe Ruth status about him. But this is also a reason why Michael Jordan is the GOAT, not LeBron James. You want to argue with me on that? That's fine too. But on this day in 1961, Wilt Chamberlain went over 3,000 points on the season, the first player in NBA history to do that, one of only 2 to do it, and Wilt did it 3 times. So I think that a stat like that kind of ends the GOAT debate. But let me know your thoughts on that, because everybody has an opinion on who the GOAT is. And then finally today, our Women's Big 5 Hall of Fame Spotlight. We're going to spotlight Trish Brown from St. Joe's. She played from 1981 to 1985. She is a Maple Glen native, right around the corner from me. She's a Bishop McDevitt graduate, and then went to St. Joe's. Helped lead them to their first ever NCAA tournament berth in 1985. She was 3-time All-A-10, 3-time All-Big 5. She graduated St. Joe's as their all-time leading scorer and rebounder. She's inducted into the St. Joe's Athletic Hall of Fame, as well as the Big 5 Hall of Fame. But Trish Brown from St. Joe's is today's Women's Big 5 Hall of Fame Spotlight. Helped lead them to their first ever NCAA tournament berth in 1985. And she's an Upper Dublin kid. So she went from Maple Glen. But Trish Brown, you are today's Women's Big 5 Hall of Fame Spotlight. On this day in 1961, Warriors lost to the Pistons, but Wilt Chamberlain went over 3,000 points in the season for the first time an NBA. It was the first time an NBA player had ever done that in league history. And he did it 3 times. Michael Jordan's the only other person to do it 1 time. We'll have more on the legal tampering, whatever that means. Let me know your thoughts on Dallas Goedert. Should the Eagles bring him back? We'll obviously have more Phillies, Sixers, and Flyers, as the Sixers and Flyers, I guess, at this point are posturing for draft pick status, and Phillies are looking to get their season underway. Also, let me know your thoughts on the Jimmy Rollins-Bryce conversation. I don't necessarily think it's a negative thing. I like that Jimmy Rollins is kind of calling him out and putting the pressure on him. But let me know what you think. Happy birthday to my beautiful wife. We'll be back tomorrow. Not sure what tomorrow is going to look like since we got to fly out of here. Probably would be a little bit more on the quicker side. And then Wednesday for hump day, we will be back in the home studio. Enjoying our time here, though. Went to the beach yesterday. It was a beautiful day. Rainy out right now, so not sure what's going to happen today, but sure beats the hell out of going to work. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for March 10th, 2025. My name's Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Monday, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.